There's an old saying, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. That's how I feel right now about my fellow Pelicans fans. Once again, the trade Lonzo Ball talks are heating up. Lonzo Ball's our problem. We need to give Kyra Lewis his minutes. Give the young guys a chance. Newsflash, everybody. Lonzo Ball is a young guy too. Matter of fact, besides Eric Bledsoe, JJ Redick, and Steven Adams, the entire roster in New Orleans is full of young guys. Believe me, I know the Pelicans are frustrating. They're the most frustrating team in the NBA to watch and to be a fan of right now. However, I feel like the expectations on this team have been unfair. And I'm including myself in this. When they brought in Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, and Josh Hart, then drafted Zion Williamson with the number 1 pick, I was even thinking that this was a playoff roster in year 1. Now, to the Pelicans' credit, they were rolling before the NBA suspended the season last March because of the pandemic. The 5 months off killed their momentum, and they weren't the same team in the bubble down in Orlando that they were just 5 months before. Now, you fast forward to this season. Expectations in New Orleans were even higher. David Griffin brought in Stan Van Gundy to improve the defense, teach these young guys how to play on both sides of the court. Once again, it's been disappointment again this year in New Orleans. The team is failing to meet expectations, but like I said a second ago, maybe the expectations are too high. Not even a maybe. The expectations that we have put on this team have been too high. You tell me another team in the NBA, in their second year together, this young, with playoff expectations going into the season. Look how long it took Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns to develop into a playoff team. Devin Booker has been in the NBA for 6 years. DeAndre Ayton, 3 years. Over the last couple of years, the same talking heads on TV that are saying Lonzo Ball should be traded were saying that Devin Booker should request a trade out of Phoenix. Now look at what has happened. The young Suns have developed chemistry. They've developed into better players. And now they're one of the top teams in the Western Conference. But it took years for them to get to this point. It didn't happen overnight. The young core in New Orleans, they haven't even played a full season with Zion Williamson. And we're already talking about wanting to break them up by trading Lonzo Ball? I don't know if Stan Van Gundy is the right coach for this team. But it's going to take time for him to teach them how to play defense. It does not happen overnight. It doesn't happen even in 1 year. Lonzo Ball is the best defender that we have on this roster. The only player that plays defense on a roster full of players who care nothing but about offense. And everyone wants to ship Lonzo out of town? I keep coming back to the same question. Why? It doesn't make any sense. If the Pelicans traded Lonzo now, it would be a typical move that this franchise makes, historically anyway. What is the one thing this franchise has lacked in New Orleans for years? One of the key ingredients you need to become a playoff caliber team. Consistency. New Orleans has been one of the most inconsistent teams in the NBA the last 8 to 10 years. At one point during the middle of the Anthony Davis era, over the span of a couple of years, the Pelicans had more different starting lineup rotations than every other team in the NBA. Seemed like every night someone new was being inserted into the starting lineup. You cannot win in this league that way. The NBA is all about rhythm, carrying that rhythm into every game. You can't do that when you are constantly shuffling your starting lineup, throwing lineups against the wall, praying that one will just click and work. Lonzo Ball right now is having a career year. He is reaching his prime. Why in the hell would you want to get rid of him now? He is not the reason that the Pelicans are underperforming. He is not the reason that they're not reaching these unrealistic expectations that we have all put on them. I go back to the same question I have asked in every video that I've made defending Lonzo Ball over the last few months. If David Griffin trades Lonzo Ball, who do you get to replace him? Someone I follow on Twitter who's a diehard Pelicans fan like myself and usually has pretty good takes, says that Kira Lewis Jr. should get Lonzo Ball's minutes. There were a lot of people the other night supporting this take when Kira Lewis had a great game against the Lakers. Actually, I think it was the best game of his career. But giving him Lonzo's minutes is absolutely asinine. Look, he's a nice backup point guard at this point, and maybe one day he'll develop into a starter. But he's not ready to start every night right now. Kira Lewis Jr. having a career night against the Lakers means absolutely nothing. I guess some of these guys didn't watch that game Tuesday night. They didn't get the memo. They definitely didn't watch the video I uploaded Sunday on this topic, but the Lakers were playing without AD and LeBron James. So Kira Lewis having a career night against scrubs is absolutely no accomplishment. It is no reason to justify trading Lonzo Ball and giving him his minutes. Now I have to admit, and I say this on here all the time, but where there is smoke, there is usually fire. The Lonzo Ball trade rumors have been going around for months now. There's obviously something to this. David Griffin must be shopping him around, or teams are calling about him, interested, one of the two. But if there wasn't something to this, David Griffin would come out publicly and say that they had no interest in trading Lonzo Ball, and they are actually working towards extending his contract. But that's not happening. We're not hearing that out of David Griffin. Lonzo Ball reportedly wants $20 million a year on his next deal. I really don't find that unreasonable. I think he's worth it. The NBA is a guard-driven league, and great point guards are not easy to find. It's like the quarterback position in the NFL. When you find a great quarterback, you do everything you can to keep him. When you find a great point guard like Lonzo Ball, who has the potential to be even better than he is today, you do everything in your power to keep him. You don't shop him around the league. You don't trade him. That makes no damn sense. Not to mention the fact that Lonzo Ball wants to be here in New Orleans. He wants to be in New Orleans. It's usually the opposite. Usually these guys, they can't wait to get the hell out of town. He also has chemistry with Brandon Ingram, and more importantly, Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson has stated, and so has Brandon Ingram, they have both stated on multiple occasions that they want Lonzo Ball in New Orleans long term. Now, Zion, this is the guy that you are supposedly building your franchise, building your future around. You want to keep him happy. Seems like a simple solution to me. You keep Lonzo Ball. But what the hell do I know? There is someone, though, that does know a thing or two about being an NBA point guard, about seeing great NBA point guards. Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson is the greatest point guard to ever play in the NBA. So if you don't believe my take about Lonzo Ball, check out what Magic Johnson had to say about him on ESPN earlier this week. Quote, "There is no point guard in this league whose basketball IQ is higher than Lonzo Ball," end quote. Huh. Well, you already know I agree with Magic Johnson. He's basically saying that Lonzo Ball has a better basketball IQ than Chris Paul, Rondo, Dame Lillard. Dude is one of the smartest players in the NBA. Now, in a way, I understand the argument against paying Lonzo Ball $20 million a year in New Orleans. You're already paying Brandon Ingram. You're going to have to pay Zion Williamson eventually. And this trio right now is not winning playing together. So the argument in that sense makes a little bit of sense. But like I've said from the beginning, you got to have patience. You have got to be patient. It takes time to build a playoff caliber team in the NBA. This is not the NFL, where you can go from 3-13 to 13-3 in one off season. It doesn't work like that in the NBA. It takes years. We are already miles ahead in New Orleans than where we should be. In most cases, when a small market franchise loses a superstar player, like the Pelicans lost Anthony Davis, it can take 5, 8, 10 years of losing before they return to playoff contention. It could be much worse in New Orleans. I know it's not great right now, but it could be much worse. Trading Lonzo Ball is not going to solve any problem. And if David Griffin pulls the trigger on a Lonzo trade, all faith in him will be lost in my eyes. All right, time for you guys to let me know what you think. I know a lot of you guys agree with me about Lonzo Ball. Normally when I post these videos, I get a lot of support in my argument that New Orleans should keep Lonzo. I want to hear from you guys, but I also want to hear from those of you who disagree with me. Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why the Pelicans would be better off if they traded Lonzo Ball. And tell me who you want to replace him with. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com. KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.